Update 3 introduces a new element called HTTP request. With this element, you can communicate with an HTTP or an HTTPS server in both directions. It can be used to download and upload files and also to retrieve or update information from a website. Let us have a look at how you can configure the different cases. Downloading a file is done by configuring the URL to the file. In this example, I take the URL of the Switch PDF documentation on the NFocus site from an XML dataset. The HTTP request type is GET, and there is no need to specify an authentication scheme. As you can see, there is support for all possible HTTP authentication schemes, but it would take us far too long to elaborate on those here. You should get that information from the website's documentation or from its webmaster. There are no parameters required, and I want to inject the HTTP response as a new job. The HTTP response in this case will be the downloaded PDF file. I then define what the name of the downloaded file will be. The input job, the XML file, is already attached as a dataset, so I can discard it. The HTTPS request element has a traffic light outgoing connection, making it easy to configure what to do when the downloading of the file fails, possibly due to an invalid URL or the website is not available. Now you can see the process at work and the result. Uploading a file also requires a URL, of course, but the request type is now POST. To upload the incoming job, I choose that as a variable for the attached file property, and file uploads are often done as MIME packages, so I set that to yes. MIME packages can contain multiple parts, and in order to identify what part of the MIME package is the uploaded file, it has to get a certain label, if you will. That is the file variable property, and it is something you should get from the documentation or from the webmaster. If more parameters are required, fill them in here, again consulting the documentation. As I am uploading a file, I am not interested in the response from the server, and I discard it. And here you see the process at work. And the result. To illustrate how the retrieving of information from a website can work, I'm going to rename a file and add today's weather condition for Ghent, Belgium. I use the URL of the Yahoo weather site and specify the location and the GET method. The response of this site is an XML string, and I eject it as a new job with the same name proper as the incoming job, but with the extension XML. I can then proceed in the normal way by picking up the XML and using its metadata in the rename job element. As you can see, the weather is not very nice, but hey, it's late autumn here. Sending information to a website happens in pretty much the same way, except that you will be using the put or the post method. You will not be sending a file, but you will be adding parameters with information. For those of you familiar with the concept of a so-called REST API, will have recognized this way of working and will see what enormous opportunities are opened up in this area by the new element. Related to this is the availability of the new HTTP class in Switch scripting. It gives you access to a large number of properties and functions, so you can build your own HTTP-based script elements.